Hello and welcome to Seniors Health, where your well-being is our priority. As a brain doctor, I've seen it all, but even I was shocked when I learned how one common fruit, yes, one you probably eat often, can actually raise your risk of stroke overnight. Let me explain. As we age, our bodies go through changes that make us more vulnerable to certain health risks, and one of the most serious is stroke. For many seniors, stroke can strike suddenly and change life forever. We often associate strokes with high blood pressure, clogged arteries, or genetics, and yes, those are real factors, but very few people realize that what you eat, even something as innocent as fruit, can play a major role in your stroke risk. That's right. Even healthy foods, depending on how and when they're consumed, can become a hidden danger. Now, I'm not here to scare you away from fruit. Fruits are packed with important nutrients, vitamins, antioxidants, and fiber. They're an essential part of a balanced diet. But there's a flip side. Some fruits, especially the sweeter ones like grapes, mangoes, ripe bananas, pineapples, and dates, contain high levels of natural sugar, mainly fructose. And while natural sugar may sound safer than processed sugar, the truth is your body responds to both in very similar ways, especially if you're over the age of 60. When you eat a high-sugar fruit, let's say a bowl of grapes or a couple of dates after dinner, your blood sugar levels rise quickly. In a young, healthy person, insulin is released to manage that spike. But in seniors, especially those with prediabetes or diabetes, which many people over 60 have without even knowing, that insulin response is weaker. The sugar stays in the bloodstream longer, creating inflammation and damaging the blood vessels over time. This chronic inflammation and blood sugar spike can make the blood thicker, increase your blood pressure, and raise the risk of blood clots, all of which are major contributors to stroke. Even worse, this effect is magnified if you're eating high-sugar fruits late in the evening, when your metabolism naturally slows down and you're less likely to be active. So now that sugar isn't being burned off, it's just circulating, damaging, and stressing your system while you sleep. Let's take a real-world example. A patient of mine in his early 70s, relatively healthy but managing mild diabetes, had developed a habit of snacking on dried fruits like raisins and dates every night. He thought he was doing something good for his health. After all, it's fruit, right? But over time, his blood sugar levels rose, his blood pressure spiked, and unfortunately, he suffered a mild stroke. Thankfully, he recovered, but he was shocked to learn that something so natural could contribute to such a dangerous event. Now, stroke doesn't happen from one fruit or one evening. It's about the pattern over time. If you're frequently consuming large amounts of high-sugar fruits, especially at night, and you're already dealing with other risk factors like high blood pressure, cholesterol, or diabetes, then yes, the risk becomes very real. And the problem is most people don't feel anything happening. There's no pain warning you. You won't feel your arteries clogging or your blood thickening. It's silent until it's not. That's why I'm raising this issue with urgency. You might be wondering, should I stop eating these fruits altogether? Not necessarily, but moderation and timing are key. If you enjoy mango or bananas, try having a smaller portion earlier in the day, ideally paired with a bit of protein or fat, like some Greek yogurt or a few walnuts, which can slow the absorption of sugar. Avoid making sugary fruits your late-night snack, especially if you're not planning to be active afterward. It's also important to know which fruits are lower in sugar and safer to eat regularly. Berries like strawberries, blueberries, and raspberries are excellent choices. They have lower sugar content and are rich in antioxidants, which actually protect your brain and blood vessels. Apples, pears, and kiwis are also good options when eaten in moderation. Another tip, be cautious with fruit juices. Even if it says 100% juice or no sugar added, it's still highly concentrated sugar without the fiber. A glass of orange juice, for example, can contain as much sugar as a soda. It's much healthier to eat the whole fruit with the fiber intact. So yes, fruit can be both your friend and, if misused, a hidden risk. This doesn't mean you need to fear it, but as we get older, we need to be smarter about how we fuel our bodies. Your brain depends on it. Managing your sugar intake from all sources, even from healthy ones, can go a long way in protecting you from stroke and keeping your brain sharp for years to come. When we talk about sugar, most people think of the obvious culprits: cookies, soda, candy, and desserts. And for good reason. Processed sugar is known to raise the risk of diabetes, obesity, heart disease, and stroke. But what many seniors don't realize is that natural sugar the kind found in fruit and even some healthy foods, can still be harmful if consumed in excess, especially as we age. The word natural makes sugar sound safe. After all, how bad can sugar from a banana or a bowl of grapes really be? These foods grow on trees and vines. They're part of nature. They're not processed in a factory. But here's the truth. Your body doesn't really care where the sugar comes from. Once it enters your bloodstream, sugar is sugar, and too much of it, even from natural sources, can silently damage your health. This is especially important for older adults. As we age, the body becomes less efficient at processing sugar. The pancreas, which produces insulin, the hormone that helps regulate blood sugar, doesn't function as effectively. Muscles, which normally help absorb sugar after meals, lose mass with age and become less sensitive to insulin. That means sugar stays in the blood longer, leading to higher overall blood sugar levels, a condition known as insulin resistance. Insulin resistance is one of the most dangerous early warning signs of type 2 diabetes and a major contributor to cardiovascular disease. When blood sugar remains elevated over time, it causes inflammation in the blood vessels, damages the lining of the arteries, and contributes to the buildup of plaque. This process makes arteries stiffer and narrower, reducing blood flow and increasing the likelihood of clots. And a clot, especially one that travels to the brain, is what causes a stroke. Now let's focus on natural sugar. Fruits like bananas, pineapples, mangoes, grapes, and dates are delicious, but they're also loaded with fructose, a form of sugar that in high amounts puts strain on the liver and contributes to fat buildup in the body. And because these fruits are so sweet, it's easy to overeat them without realizing it. A handful of grapes can turn into 2 or 3 cups. A smoothie with 2 bananas and orange juice might contain as much sugar as a can of soda, but we don't think twice about drinking it because it's natural. But what makes natural sugar especially tricky is that the symptoms don't show up immediately. You won't feel a headache or stomach ache right after having a few sweet fruits. There's no burning sensation or warning sign. The damage is slow and silent. Day after day, year after year, that excess sugar gradually wears down the systems that keep your brain and heart healthy. And for seniors whose bodies are already more vulnerable to chronic diseases, this matters a great deal. Stroke, dementia, heart failure, and even certain types of cancer all have links to long-term metabolic stress, much of which starts with poor sugar control. So does that mean seniors should avoid fruit altogether? Not at all. In fact, fruits are one of the best sources of fiber, vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants. The key is choosing the right fruits and eating them in the right portions at the right time of day. Low-sugar fruits like berries, apples, pears, and plums offer all the benefits with much less sugar. These fruits also have higher fiber content, which slows the absorption of sugar and helps avoid sudden spikes in blood glucose. Timing is important too. Eating high-sugar fruits late in the evening or before bed is not a good idea, especially if you're sedentary. Your metabolism slows down at night, and your body is less efficient at processing sugar. That means your blood sugar stays elevated for longer, which can increase overnight blood pressure and strain your cardiovascular system while you sleep. Another tip, never eat fruit on its own if you try to manage your sugar intake. Pair it with a source of healthy fat or protein, like a few almonds, a spoonful of peanut butter, or some plain yogurt. This slows digestion and keeps your blood sugar more stable. Also, be careful with fruit juices. Even if they're labeled 100% juice or no sugar added, they're often stripped of fiber and packed with concentrated sugar. Drinking a glass of orange juice is not the same as eating an orange. It can contain the sugar of 3 or 4 oranges in just a few gulps. At the end of the day, sugar is something our bodies need, but only in small, controlled amounts. When it comes to natural sugar, especially for older adults, the danger is not in having a little now and then. The danger lies in the daily, unchecked consumption that becomes routine. Being aware, reading labels, choosing lower sugar options, and watching portions can make a significant difference in preventing strokes and keeping your brain and body strong as you age. As we grow older, our bodies change in ways that we can't always see, but those changes have a big impact on how we should eat. What worked for us at 30 or 40 doesn't always work at 60, 70, or beyond. Our nutritional needs evolve with age, and understanding those changes is essential for maintaining brain health, preventing chronic disease, and living with energy and independence in our later years. One of the first things that changes with age is our metabolism. As we get older, our bodies burn fewer calories at rest. We lose lean muscle mass, which naturally burns more energy than fat tissue. This means that even if we eat the same amount of food as we did when we were younger, we're more likely to gain weight. But it's not just about gaining weight. Excess fat, especially around the belly, increases the risk of high blood pressure, diabetes, and stroke. That's why portion control becomes more important with age, especially when it comes to high-calorie, low-nutrient foods. Another big shift is in how the body absorbs nutrients. The stomach produces less acid over time, which makes it harder to absorb essential vitamins like B12, calcium, and iron. These nutrients play a major role in brain function, bone strength, and blood health. A deficiency in B12, for example, can cause memory problems, fatigue, and even nerve damage. Seniors often need to get more of these nutrients from food, or in some cases from supplements if recommended by a doctor. The brain also becomes more sensitive to blood sugar fluctuations as we age. Stable blood sugar is critical for clear thinking, memory, and mood. When we eat too many simple carbohydrates or sugary foods, our blood sugar spikes and crashes. Over time, this leads to insulin resistance, which is a major contributor to dementia and stroke. That's why balanced meals with protein, fiber, and healthy fats are so important for seniors. These types of meals help keep blood sugar steady and support long-term brain health. Hydration is another area where seniors need to be more mindful. As we age, our sense of thirst decreases, even when our bodies still need water. Dehydration in seniors is common and can lead to confusion, low energy, constipation, and even kidney problems. The body needs enough fluids to circulate nutrients, flush toxins, and keep everything functioning properly, including the brain. Seniors should make it a habit to sip water throughout the day, even if they don't feel thirsty. Herbal teas, broth-based soups, and water-rich fruits and vegetables like cucumbers and watermelon can also help. Let's also not forget the importance of fiber. Digestive issues like constipation become more common with age due to slower digestion and reduced physical activity. High-fiber foods, such as whole grains, beans, vegetables, and fruits with skin, help keep the digestive system moving. But fiber also helps reduce cholesterol and stabilize blood sugar, both of which are crucial for preventing heart disease and stroke. Protein is another key nutrient that becomes more important as we age. Remember how we said we naturally lose muscle over time? That process is called sarcopenia, and it begins as early as our 40s. Without enough protein in our diets, this muscle loss accelerates, and the weaker our muscles become, the greater the risk of falls, fractures, and loss of independence. Seniors should aim to include a source of protein in every meal. Eggs, fish, poultry, legumes, nuts, and dairy are all great options. Unfortunately, many older adults face barriers to healthy eating, reduced appetite, dental issues, limited income, or simply the habit of eating the same meals they've always eaten. But with just a few small, intentional changes, senior nutrition can be dramatically improved. Even simple swaps, like replacing white bread with whole grain, snacking on nuts instead of cookies, or choosing oatmeal over sugary cereal, can have long-term benefits. It's also important to think about meal timing. Many seniors benefit from eating smaller, more frequent meals throughout the day rather than large, heavy meals. This helps with digestion, prevents spikes in blood sugar, and can help avoid that sluggish feeling after eating. If you're someone who skips breakfast or eats dinner late at night, adjusting your schedule could make a big difference in how you feel, both physically and mentally. Lastly, we must remember that nutrition doesn't exist in isolation. It affects everything: energy, memory, balance, sleep, immunity, and even mood. A well-fed body supports a sharp mind. The foods you choose each day directly shape your ability to live independently, stay mentally alert, and avoid preventable illness. That's why senior nutrition isn't just a nice idea, it's a core part of healthy aging. Making mindful, age-appropriate food choices is one of the most powerful ways to take control of your health and enjoy life to the fullest. When it comes to stroke prevention, most people think about medications, blood pressure checks, and maybe avoiding salty food. And while all those things are important, there's so much more we can do, especially through small, everyday choices that protect the brain and the heart. As a brain doctor, I've seen how devastating strokes can be, and I've also seen how many are preventable. The brain is incredibly powerful, but it's also delicate. The good news is that with just a few simple changes, seniors can greatly reduce their stroke risk and support their cognitive health in the process. One of the most practical steps you can take is limiting high-sugar fruits in the evening. Fruits like bananas, grapes, mangoes, and dried fruits are naturally sweet, which means they're high in fructose. For seniors, especially those managing diabetes or high blood pressure, eating these fruits late at night can be a problem. When you eat sugar before bed, your blood sugar rises and stays elevated during sleep when your body is least active. It stresses the blood vessels and increases inflammation. Over time, this pattern raises the risk of blood clots and stroke. Instead, focus on eating fruit earlier in the day, perhaps with breakfast or lunch, and choose options that are lower in sugar and higher in fiber. Berries are an excellent choice. Blueberries, strawberries, and raspberries contain antioxidants that protect brain cells and reduce inflammation. Apples and pears, eaten with the skin, offer fiber that supports digestion and stable blood sugar levels. Another key tip is to pair fruit with healthy fats or protein. For example, if you enjoy apples, try slicing them and dipping them in peanut butter or eating them with a few walnuts. This combination slows the digestion of sugars and prevents blood sugar spikes. It also keeps you fuller longer, reducing the chance of snacking on unhealthy options later. Yogurt with berries is another great example. The protein in the yogurt balances the natural sugar in the berries. Beyond food choices, monitoring your blood pressure and blood sugar regularly is essential. These two numbers, your systolic/diastolic pressure and your glucose level, are directly tied to stroke risk. High blood pressure can damage artery walls, making them more likely to rupture or clog. High blood sugar does the same in a slower, more silent way. If you don't already have a home monitor, consider investing in one. Checking your numbers once or twice a week and sharing them with your doctor can help catch small issues before they become serious. Staying physically active is another powerful way to protect your brain. Movement helps regulate blood flow, keeps blood vessels flexible, and improves insulin sensitivity. You don't have to run marathons or lift heavy weights. A daily walk, some gentle stretching, or even chair exercises can make a huge difference. Aim for at least 20 to 30 minutes of movement each day. Regular activity also helps improve mood, sleep, and memory, all of which support brain health. Let's not forget hydration. Many seniors don't realize they're dehydrated until they start feeling tired, dizzy, or confused. The brain is over 70% water, and even mild dehydration can affect concentration, balance, and reaction time. More importantly, dehydration thickens the blood, increasing the likelihood of clots, which can lead to stroke. Make it a habit to drink water throughout the day. Keep a bottle nearby as a visual reminder and take sips regularly, even if you're not thirsty. Sleep quality is another area many people overlook. Poor sleep raises blood pressure, increases stress hormones, and disrupts glucose regulation, all of which raise stroke risk. Try to go to bed and wake up at consistent times and create a calming nighttime routine. Avoid caffeine in the afternoon and screen time just before bed. If you snore loudly or often wake up tired, talk to your doctor about the possibility of sleep apnea, which is a known risk factor for stroke. Finally, make sure you're eating a diet rich in brain-protective nutrients. Omega-3 fatty acids, found in fatty fish like salmon and sardines, help reduce inflammation and improve circulation. Leafy greens, nuts, seeds, and olive oil, all staples of the Mediterranean diet, are great for heart and brain health. Try to reduce processed foods, fried items, and excess salt and sugar as much as possible. It's not about being perfect, it's about choosing better most of the time. Stroke prevention isn't just about one magic food or avoiding one bad habit. It's about a combination of smart, simple choices made consistently. Every healthy meal, every glass of water, every walk around the block adds up. The brain thrives when it's nourished, rested, and supported. Even if you start small, changing just one habit this week, you're moving in the right direction. It's never too late to protect your brain and take control of your health. So as we've seen, protecting your brain and reducing your stroke risk isn't about fear, it's about awareness and action. Even something as simple as the fruit you eat can have a bigger impact than you realize, especially as you age. But with the right knowledge, smart nutrition, balanced sugar intake, regular movement, and a few simple daily habits, you can stay sharp, strong, and independent for years to come. Your health is in your hands, and every small choice you make matters. Whether it's swapping high-sugar fruits for berries, drinking more water, or taking that short daily walk, these little steps build a powerful defense for your brain and heart. Thank you for watching and being part of this journey to healthier aging. Take care of your body, nourish your mind, and remember, it's never too late to make a change that could save your life. If you found this helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with someone you care about.